In episode 243, we cover Injustice 2's DLC. They've released the first few characters.
And while we may not be getting Hellboy 3, we are getting a cinematic reboot for the franchise.
We also have a spoiler-filled review for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Does it live up to the first one?
The Button Part 3 is coming up on our review, our comic book highlight for the week with Batman number 22.
All of this and much more on today's show. Hello and welcome to the Reasons I'm Broke podcast, bringing you the reasons we're broke, ranging from comics, movies, TV, video games, and more. I'm Kelly.
And I'm Daniel.
The way we format the show is first we're going to start out with some awesome news, follow it up with a comic book highlight, and we're going to end our show this week with a movie review, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
That's right, we're going to keep that at the very end of the episode in case you haven't watched Volume 2 yet and you want to save the spoilers but still enjoy the podcast. You can enjoy it at the very end of the show today. But first, baby update, Kelly, for our young, huge update on what the sex of the baby is.
Are we going to spoil it? We're just going to tell them right now?
Well, let's see, what size is it right now? Let's lead up into it.
We'll build up. It is the size of a pomegranate, so growing bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Also, my stomach is much bigger than it was.
That's true.
People are finally like, oh, you're really pregnant. Like, nah, I was just kidding for the last 3 months.
Soon they're going to start touching your belly without your permission.
It's already done. That happens. I have some people who are like, oh, is it okay? But then I feel rude to be like, no, it's not okay. Yeah, whatever. You got to put up with it. It is what it is. You take that along with the medical expenses, and it's just part of pregnancy. It's discomfort.
The other thing you were saying is it's now developing cartilage so that it'll soon turn into bones for all of its entire fucking body. It's like Dr. Manhattan when he teleported into existence. That's kind of what it's doing in your belly.
Yeah, pretty much. So it already has cartilage everywhere. Like, all its bones are already cartilage. And now they're going to develop into bones. But it can already hear, it can see light. Apparently its smell things, whatever, receptors are already fully developed. I should start to feel it kicking any day now. Like little tiny kicks. Like butterfly wings is what everyone calls it.
We like looking up the hashtags for when you're pregnant.
Yes.
Hashtag pregos, hashtag baby life. What are the other hashtags? There's a million of them.
I used Prego Perks today because we went out to eat and they gave me an extra pancake. They were only supposed to give me 2 pancakes, but I got 3 pancakes. Did I eat that third pancake? No. But it was a thought that counted. They're like, oh, this pregnant bitch needs to eat. Just give her pancakes.
Give her an extra one. This one fell on the floor.
It is true that my doctor said I needed to gain more weight, though. So I haven't gained any weight since my pregnancy, mostly because I have so many food aversions, I don't really want to eat anything. I still eat when I'm hungry, and I eat until I'm full, but I'm not like other people who have no aversions and are just like, potato chips, this, and I have a lot of aversions. And so I went to the doctor, and she goes, do you have, like, body image issues, or are you worried about getting big? Because it's your first? I'm like, hell no, blow me up, I eat ice cream every day. I just haven't gained any weight, sorry.
In that same doctor's visit is when we looked at the latest sonogram. And if you follow us on Twitter, Facebook, or on our Patreon page, the video actually went up there first. You already know what the sex of our baby is, but the doctor had to make sure when she was checking, of course it's my baby, so he was being stubborn. And she had to check it out in different angles just to make sure, and it was kind of fighting. Even at the end, she's like, well, double check anyway, but I'm 99% sure that it is a little boy.
A boy!
The little boy. It's exactly what we wanted. Wanted a little boy. It's going to now look like a little clone of me.
Regardless, it would have looked like a clone of you. One would have just been a female clone of you.
Well, it would have looked like a clone of my sister if it was a little girl. But now it's going to look like a little me, maybe a little bit lighter hair. It's going to have light brown hair, I think. But it's still going to have the darker skin. It's going to have the long hair. It's going to be hairy.
So for those of you who haven't seen any pictures of us, Daniel is 100% Mexican, dark skin, dark hair, nice beard, dark eyes.
Yep.
I am over here a poor ginger where all my genes are recessive and nothing can be passed down to my child.
You've got one gene that is not, and
My
that is your nose.
Yeah, so my nose is... Everyone in my family has this nose, except for my mom. It comes from my dad's side. So me, my dad, my brother, my grandma, my cousins. I mean, you go all the way back, we all have this nose. But your nose is also dominant for your family. So the nose is a toss-up. Everything else is going to be you. People are going to see us walking down the street and wonder if I'm the mistress or the babysitter.
I don't think we'll know what kind of nose it has until it's a little bit older, because babies just have that squished face at the beginning anyway. But your nose is more like it perks up at the end.
Mm-hmm. It's like mine's more of a button nose.
Yeah.
And yours is just straight.
Mine goes straight down.
It's like an Aztec pyramid.
That's right. And it kind of sticks out further than yours also, and it's a little bit wider as well. And this one's actually a hybrid of my mom's and my dad's nose, which is a little weird. So, I don't know. It could still be either, it could still have mine, it could be just a straight up big one like my dad's, or it could be a really flat one.
Well, see, the funny thing is my mom has a nose like you, but me and my dad and my brother all have this little squished nostrils or two different sizes, weird nose. And it's cute. I love my nose.
Yeah, I like your nose too.
But our child will look nothing like me. Nothing. 0%.
So they're going to be asking, what kind of names have we come up with? And so far this week, we're trying out something where we call it by a certain name and see how we feel. We call him. I got to get used to saying him now.
Him,
yeah,
yes.
I didn't spoil it like you did with your parents.
Sorry, I did spoil it to my parents.
But I was able to hold it back and kept calling it until finally the day came and we said he. My parents were so happy. My dad really wanted it to be a boy. My mom did as well. I think my sister was you mentioned, the only one that looked a little bit disappointed.
She wanted
that it was a little boy. But, I mean, aside from that, we are both super thrilled. We've been calling him Leo. So, short for Leonardo. It could also be Spanish. Leo is pronounced exactly the same. You can say Leon. Even in English, you can call him Leon. So there's several different names that can come out of this. But that's what we've been going with so far this week. And it could change by the next episode, or it could stay until, little Leo's born. Who knows? But so far, Leonardo is his first name for our little young man.
I liked Galaxion. I thought that was a strapping young name. That's what we called him for the first week.
Yes.
Because, so here's the story. We both wanted a boy. We both said from the beginning we want a boy. We find out it's a boy. This is great. We get in the car. I say, let's think of names. And Daniel says, oh, I only thought of girl names.
It's true. Yeah.
Well, what was the point? So we go back and forth for a week, and he finally just says, name it what you want. So I said, fine, Galaxion, which is a legitimate Hispanic name, by the way.
Pretty cool. I mean, it's silly. He'd definitely get...
You'd have to call him Eon, or Ian.
Or Gally, or... I don't know. If it was a girl, you could call her Gal.
No. It's Galaxion. Just call him Galaxion. He'd go by his middle name.
So aside from that, we also have... You're on a Facebook battle right now with Vegeta.
Oh, man. Yes. So, one of my coworkers found out I was a huge Vegeta fan. But he didn't realize how big of a fan. So when he finds Vegeta things on Facebook, he tags me in them. And I'm like, cool, whatever. So he posted this thing on my Facebook recently that says, Vegeta's purged hundreds of planets. We just know hundreds, right? And so let's use Earth as an example. He put like 7 trillion living things on the planet. So theoretically, Vegeta has purged quadrillion, I don't know, just go up in numbers.
A shit ton
everything. Of living things, right? Shit ton. And then the post ends with, that's worse than 500 Hitlers.
Which, by the math, it is.
It is. And I respond with, I know, isn't he great?
Jeez. You followed it up, though, with something else.
I did. So the things that we have to realize about Vegeta and all his killing, right? 1, he's a Saiyan. That's how Saiyans are. They have a different moral code. Something's weaker, you kill it. Like, even his little brother, because he wasn't very strong, they banished him. Goku was a little fucking baby, and they're like, throw him out in space. See how he survives. Like, whatever. Just, that's what they do. It's a different culture.
It's like Spartans.
It's, yes, Spartans, but Saiyans, which are cooler.
Okay. Agreed, they are cooler.
Thank you. So, second, most of the planets that he purged, And yes, he probably enjoyed it a little bit, but Frieza sent him out on those missions. Frieza's like, go fucking destroy this thing, or I'm gonna beat the shit out of you. And then he beat the shit out of him anyway, whatever. He's just trying to stay alive. So he had to do all this to stay alive, and because he's Vegeta and a Saiyan, and this is just what he does. So we can't blame him. And then have you seen him change a diaper? It's precious.
The conclusion to all of this is that Vegeta can't do wrong in Kelly's eyes.
No, because I've already seen the darkness of his soul, and I understand him.
Is he a project?
He's a ginormous
It's not a project, though, because you don't change him, and Bulma does not change him.
No, I mean, he changes a little bit.
A tiny bit.
A little bit. He becomes softer. You see him with bra and how sweet he is.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's something Bulma necessarily wanted. I'm sure she would have been a fine single mother, too, especially since he flies off anyway. She might as well be, right? He's always off training.
The most recent episode that we saw of Dragon Ball Super, he shows up and she's like, oh, you're back already? I wasn't expecting this. But she is a very independent woman, and that's why they do so well together, because she doesn't need him, and he doesn't need her, but they're better together.
Yeah, if you haven't watched Dragon Ball Super, they developed the shit out of Vegeta way more in that than anything. We picked up the manga, which just released at your local comic book shop, Dragon Ball Super Volume 1, which goes ahead of what the current English dub of the show is at right now. And there are some changes, so what you see in the manga won't necessarily be exactly what you see in the show, but it's still really interesting to see the differences that they are eventually going to omit or maybe adapt onto your television screen. So anything Dragon Ball Super is good stuff right now.
Mm-hmm. But if any of you feel like taking the challenge of trying to convince me that Vegeta is a bad person and shouldn't be liked, you're welcome to try. But it's not going to happen. I'm a Vegeta expert. I have all the Vegeta facts. You know what I learned this week? Oh my god, blew my mind. Everybody in that show is named after food.
And I was like, you just found that out? This is like over a decade kids have known.
I knew about the Saiyans being all vegetables.
Right.
But then Ginyu is all milk.
This one I didn't know.
And then all the rest of Frieza's everybody is named after fruits.
I didn't know that either.
Because those are all things that go into a refrigerator, like Frieza. Mm-hmm. Okay, and then you have Mr. Satan, right?
Yeah.
Okay, his daughter's name is Videl, which is devil, all mixed up.
Okay.
Okay, really cool, right?
Yes.
And then Pan is bread because she married into the Sun family, which Gohan is like rice or something.
Oh, so it turns into, okay.
Chi-Chi is milk.
Right.
Oh my goodness, how did I not know? Beerus is beer, Whis is whiskey.
So they're all going to be alcoholic drinks.
Yes.
What was the original story? That it wasn't really supposed to be beer,
so, Beerus, the screenwriter, so there's the writer, Akira Toriyama, and then there's a screenwriter, some guy, whatever. So the screenwriter came up with Beerus's name as a form of virus, like going off virus. Mm-hmm. And Akira, who's, I guess, named everybody else after food, he's like, oh, like beer, so we'll do Whis for whiskey. And then there's Beerus's brother, Champa, who is champagne.
There you go.
And then Whis' sister or somebody who is named after some kind of brandy. Oh my god, blew my mind. I'm just sitting there. And then Bulma means bloomers. How did I not? I thought she was the only normal one. But no, nope. She's not. She's named after
Bulma, trunks, bra.
They're all briefs. Tights is her sister.
They're all underwear.
Ay, blew my mind. I'm just standing there in work, like, reading this, like, whoa! Should have been working. I wasn't.
So with that, let's kick it off and go straight into our news this week.
That's not as fun. Can we just make this a Dragon Ball Z podcast? Or a Dragon Ball, a Vegeta podcast?
Well, if we get to the final Patreon goal, we will have a second podcast, and it could be a Dragon Ball podcast.
Oh my goodness, no, I have one more. And then Vegeta's brother's name is Tarble, right? And together, they're vegetable. Vegetable.
That one's lame.
That's not lame. It's so cool. I'm sorry. Yes. Fine, DLC. Vegeta.
So Injustice 2 looks to be one of the most anticipated fighting games out there. It will probably do better than Injustice Gods Among Us. And the comic book is also going very strong. But since there's such a positive spin right now with gamers being so excited for Injustice 2, as tradition, they have revealed the DLC characters ahead of time.
So we did get a small trailer showing off the first 3 out of 9 DLC characters for Injustice 2.
So these three are Starfire,
Awesome.
Red Hood,
Cool.
and this is the Jason Todd Red Hood. And finally, Mortal Kombat's Sub-Zero, my favorite fighter from the MK universe.
Lame.
Would you have preferred Mr. Freeze?
Yes. It would have been awesome. He could have come out like, Nora.
Now, in the first one, they did Scorpion as a DLC character, and the second most popular character behind Scorpion is Sub-Zero. So they ended up going with Sub-Zero for this one. There were additional silhouettes that were showcased in the trailer, and people were able to figure out two of them already, which were Raiden, also from the Mortal Kombat universe, and Black Manta as future DLC characters.
They should have Ocean Master.
Maybe eventually, but if you're going to put in an Aquaman villain, you're going to do the more iconic Black Manta, at least until my movie comes out. Then people will be like, who the hell is Black Manta? Let's see that Ocean Master guy.
He hides under the sand and comes on
faces. Like that's a super ability.
That would be his super move in the thing when you're all the way powered up. It's
Yes.
like him squeezing it and people are looking around for him. And it's just like an ocean, a geyser of semen. And they're like, ah!
Swamp Thing also goes underground. So would they fight underground instead, since they're both, that's really where they attack from?
Well, yeah, that'd be super cool.
I actually don't think Swamp Thing would be okay, because he would just go underground, and what's Ocean Master gonna do?
Well, but Swamp Thing is half man, so it'd still be like, because he could
still make him uncomfortable.
He could go on a leaf or something.
Water him.
Yeah, Swamp Thing could feel it. He'd be like, ugh.
It's fertilizer.
I'm uncomfortable. I'm so happy with Starfire though, and her costume looks really cool.
It does. It's straight out of the New 52 design of Starfire, and Red Hood looks awesome. Almost looks like the Arkham. What was the last one? Arkham Knight version of the video game, and Red Hood has such a following that you gotta throw him in.
Is his superpower being really whiny?
Probably. Wait till we see that fucking trailer of his. He's just gonna be talking and whining the entire goddamn time, and it fits.
I want him to say something special when he fights Batman, like, why'd you abandon me?
Oh, he will. Yeah. In the game, whenever certain characters that would know each other, they have special dialogue, just like in the first game. So one of the things, I think when Nightwing talks to Batman, there's special dialogue. There's going to be one for Nightwing and Starfire for sure. But
hey, I just found out they had a daughter too. I learned so much this week. So many things I learned.
But aside from that, I can't wait to see the future DLC fighters for Injustice 2, and this first pack looks to be really amazing.
Do they have Constantine?
I haven't seen Constantine in there. I could be wrong, correct me, Brokettes, but I haven't been following Injustice 2 as closely, just because I know I'm not going to have time to play it since I'm still playing Mass Effect Andromeda.
You are never going to beat Mass Effect.
I'm going to beat it eventually, and we set out a plan to beat it before October when the baby gets here, so you've allowed me to play for 1 hour of Andromeda every single day, and then I should theoretically have enough hours built in to complete the game by October, November.
I need to finish Pokemon before the baby comes too.
Yeah, you do.
But I caught a Dratini today, so now it's
your team is pretty much set.
Straight to the not the Justice League,
the Elite
Four. Whoever those guys are, you gotta beat them.
That'd be way harder because you'd have 7 Justice League members if you go by the movie.
You wouldn't even be able to beat them.
And then the final one would be Batman. After your rival would be Batman.
If you had a water type and Aquaman was there, forget about it. He'd be like, loo, 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 talking to them with his sonar waves. Is that still a thing that he does? Can he still talk to sea creatures? I mean, you were in the movie, so.
In the comics and in the movies, he's not going to be talking to the fish or marine animals. He instead actually manipulates them with his mind. So he's almost like, it's mind control more than anything. It's not like a mutual agreement like, hey, if you help me with... No, it's him manipulating weaker-minded creatures. So one of the things in the comics is, well, humans, their origin is from the ocean, if you go back to millions of years of evolution. So he should theoretically be able to also control humans. And he says, yes, but their mind is more complex, so that's why I can't actually manipulate humans as easily as I can fish or sharks or whales. And I think he, at one point, even says that dolphins are a little bit more complex, too, and harder to control, but that's where the current comics stand as far as Aquaman's powers. I don't know if they're going to ever go back to the actual talking. I doubt it.
I loved the old cheesy cartoon where he just sent out his sonar waves and the fish were like, oh, let's go.
And it could have been manipulating them too. I mean, you don't hear his voice. You don't really hear him talking to the fish and them talking back, so.
They should. That'd be even better.
So moving from the video game side onto something more controversial this week, Duke City Comic Con in Albuquerque recently ran a promotion on the Sunday for the show, which was Mother's Day, with the following Facebook post.
Quote, Sunday is Mother's Day. Mothers get in free with a paid adult. Bring your kids and a man to buy a ticket, and you are our guest Sunday, May 14th, all day. End quote. Can I tell you, reading the notes, I didn't even know what this was about, and I just read that, and I was like, well, fuck. There it is.
I know how the internet's going to react.
Well, I kind of got offended, too.
So, yeah, tell me how you feel. Like, when I read this, I'm like, oh, that's where they fucked up. What do you think? Where was the... I mean, we know what the issue is right away.
Of course, they should not have put and a man. Bring a kid and a man. Like, who the fuck are you to say that I have to bring a man?
They're implying that you have to have a paid adult ticket with the free mom, and that's what it is. So, I mean, there's a number of issues with this, because if you're a single mom, then what do you do? Or, you know, the obvious one was if you're gay, then what do you mean bring a man? And it was just a poorly worded promotion that looks like no one overread or oversaw, or if they did, they didn't care either. But the convention organizer, who is Jim Burleson, he fielded private messages about the wording of the post and then publicly shared the conversation, saying, quote, if you are offended by the commentary of bring your kids and a man, this probably isn't the event for you. We are way too anti-PC to understand what makes a person get offended by the biological fact that it takes a man to create a child in even its basic form, end quote.
Okay, so what happens if you went to a sperm bank? What happens if your significant other passed away and is no longer here? What happens if you recently got a divorce?
This promotion, in spite of the wording, should never have been ran without actual stipulations already set aside and put together. It's a mess of a promotion, and especially with this day and age, people are going to call you out immediately on what you put out. And the issue isn't necessarily, at least on my end, so much that it's anti-PC, because even I have my share of like, all right, come on, this is too much. But in this case, it's like, it's not so much the fact that like they have to have a man with them, or the way he handled it by making public the private messages is a poor business decision. He's clearly not a business person or has much experience in public relations to be going, hey, everyone, check out how I schooled this private message and immediately put it up as a public Facebook post. You're an idiot if you do that, and you deserve all the criticism you're getting your way.
Oh, absolutely. If they wanted to do something like this, and I think it's a great idea, moms get him for free, cool. But say with a paid child, bring your child, purchase your child a ticket, get in for free.
How about with a paid child or a paid adult?
Yeah, sure. With another paid ticket. There you go.
So while Jim initially posted that the wording was going to stay, the post was edited the next day to omit the bring a man portion of it.
Well, good. It should. It was horrible. I don't know who wrote this. A man wrote this. It was horrible.
That's true. It is a man that wrote that.
Horrible. It's not... I can see where they were going with it, but even mothers, I feel like most mothers should be more inclusive. I was upset. Do I have this type of family structure that they're talking about? Yes, I could have gotten in for free. But am I upset about all the people who can't because I understand that there's different family structures? Absolutely.
I'm more upset by the fact that he was proud of what he fucking did. Like, check out how much of an asshole I am. Don't share the fucking private messages, you idiot. This is where you're gonna go wrong, and this is where you really show that, one, you are a moron, and two, you don't know how to run a fucking business. He also came under fire after organizing the Santa Fe Comic-Con last year for not flying in cosplayers. So this is the second year in a row that, and maybe it is a lot of the people from before that are kind of watching everything he posts just to see what he does, but this one's obvious, even if they weren't. Like, yeah, you're going to come under fire for this kind of thing. Last year there were cosplayers, though this is a little bit more, it's a more of a gray area what happened last year, and I'm not a cosplayer and I don't have all the information, so take what I say with a grain of salt. But what he was doing is not offering to fly in cosplayers that were big named to the convention. Instead, he said if you're a local cosplayer, yes, you can buy a table and you can showcase yourself and you can sell your prints. But bigger name cosplayers that were invited to the show, they're like, well, other conventions pay for our flight, they pay for our hotels, and we don't have to pay for a table. And the guy responded in a very similar way to the private messages and kind of an asshole way. And he's like, hell no, you're not special. You're just doing this and cosplaying. And it's like, oh my God, dude, come on. So that's where it's...
See, I don't disagree with him doing that, but the way that he handled it, it's all in the way he handles it. It's talking to people 101.
Yeah,
like,
seriously.
Shit, are you not trying to sell something here?
Have you ever worked anywhere at all?
I would like him to work in food service or retail and see how many angry letters he gets.
He'd be fired within a week by how he's running the conventions.
Oy.
And he's still running conventions, so who knows?
Yeah, if you got money and people show up, I guess.
Here's some more positive news. So, according to the Entertainment Weekly, IM Global is developing a live-action Judge Dredd television series titled Judge Dredd Mega City 1.
Cool! I've never seen any Judge Dredd. All I know is, it's law!
The sly one. You can ignore that one. Instead, you should watch the 2012 Carl Urban Dredd, which was fucking excellent. It was so fucking good, and no one saw it in theaters. Not enough to where it warranted a sequel.
Does he go, it's the law?
He doesn't. What he actually does is he keeps the helmet on, like in the comics, which is kind of a big deal because in today's age of superhero movies, the actors have to show their face. That's a big thing. A lot of times it's in their contract where they say, I have to have X amount of screen time where everyone sees my face. And it's a brand recognition. It's to get further work. And it's also a name brand also. Robert Downey Jr., you want to see him. In this case, Carl Urban, he kept like the character, and you only see the space underneath his cheekbones, essentially, just the mouth. And he's acting with his mouth, much like Tom Hardy did in The Dark Knight Rises, in which he acted with just his eyes, and then his body language. So it was such an excellent movie, not just a great Dredd movie, it was a great action movie, and it was on Netflix for a good while. It came out on Blu-ray, and there was this whole movement over buy the Blu-ray so that we can do Dredd 2, because that's what it was going to come down to. But instead, it looks like they're moving over to the television side of things.
So we do have a quote here. Quote, this is one of those seminal sci-fi properties that seems to only become more and more relevant with age. This comes from executive producer Mark Stern. Not only is it a rich world with biting social commentary, but it's also fun as hell. End quote.
So there's no word yet on whether this will tie into the 2012 film. If you get Carl Urban, awesome. I know he's currently working on Preacher, so he could be busy with that. I'm sure they're going to get another season of it. I hear the show is really awesome. I don't know what the ratings are like, but the fact that we're getting more Dredd is still a good thing.
Especially if they work with some of the same people, maybe writers that they did with the movie as well.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Hopefully. Maybe I'll see one movie before it comes out so that I know.
You need to, yeah, for sure. And speaking of things returning, through a public Facebook post on Facebook, Hellboy creator Mike Mignola announced the following.
Quote, okay, here's some news. There is going to be another Hellboy movie. It's going to be an R-rated reboot directed by Neil Marshall, who's done The Descent, Game of Thrones, and starring David Harbour from Stranger Things as Hellboy. More news to come soon. End quote. Oh wait, there's another quote here. No Guillermo because he wants too much money. End quote.
That's true though. Like a lot of people immediately reacted like, I don't know how to feel about this. I want more Hellboy, but I want Ron Perlman and Guillermo del Toro. And it's almost as if they just decided, no, we're not going to get them. It's that he asked for a huge budget again. And they said, no, based on how long it's been since the second Hellboy, we can't justify giving you that size of a budget this many years later. Yes, people are asking for Hellboy 3, and yes, I would have loved to have seen Doug Jones return along with Guillermo and Ron Perlman, but if the studio doesn't, they have a plan. There's always a plan as to how much they're allowed to give away for a movie, and there's analysts, and they said, hell no, we're not going to give them that much fucking money for Hellboy 3, and that's when Guillermo said, never again, don't ask about Hellboy, there's not going to be a Hellboy 3, I'm done with that franchise. So they said, okay, reboot this guy for probably less than half of what Guillermo asked for.
Probably like a fourth of what he asked for. Now let me ask you, why can't Dougie Jones be in this movie?
That's fucking true. Yeah, fucking bring back Doug Jones.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit?
Just do
Hell
it.
Yeah.
Make him Hellboy.
He's too busy being the Babadook.
Skinny ass Dougie Jones being Hellboy.
Neil Marshall, though, as Hellboy, I know you still have to see Stranger Things again, but he was the sheriff in that. He was fucking incredible. Aside from the kids, like, he was the best actor on that show. And yes, he has the look of, like, almost a Ron Perlman-ish Hellboy, if that's what they want to try to go with, something similar to the other cinematic adaptation of it.
I don't have the emotional energy for any more Netflix original series.
You're tapped out at House of Cards.
I'm gonna have to stop for a while, because the thing about Netflix original series is every episode has so much in it, right? And they're great, but there's so much in it. And then they're always like an hour long, because why fucking not? They're Netflix, cool?
Yeah.
And then you have to watch all of them at once. You can't just watch one episode. It's gotta be everything. So I can't. My emotional barometer, whatever the hell you want to call it, is all over the place, and I can't watch dog videos. I can't see movies, apparently.
Hashtag Prego Problems.
Ugh, Prego Probs. It's very different than hashtags Probs Prego.
I'll have to show you at least a clip of this actor.
I'll watch the actor. But my clip watching is mostly limited to Vegeta and diapers right now. Because I'm like, aw, he's such a cute dad.
So currently, this Hellboy reboot is tentatively titled Hellboy Rise of the Blood Queen. And the film has been described by the co-writer as a mix of horror and a comic book movie.
This sounds spooky. I don't think I'll like it.
R-rated. Are you going to see it? Are you going to pass on it?
Is it spooky?
It looks like it will be at least a little bit scary if they're calling it horror, although it could mean gory.
Is it going to be what's her face spooky? You know what I'm talking about.
From Evil Dead? I don't know. I really don't know what this is going to be.
Is it going to be chainsaws possessing people to cut off their own arms?
I really don't know. I don't have a clue. I'm sure a Hellboy fan could give me a better idea after they've read all of the years of comics on what this could be. But aside from that, there's no release date so far. But I know Hellboy fans are happy that we're getting any Hellboy at all. And I think we mentioned when they said Hellboy 3 was not going to be a thing, I said give it a while. They're going to bring back Hellboy one day. And, they did. Now, I did say that I don't think the audience is there for a Hellboy 3. If they cut down the budget this much, and they can make this way cheaper than what Hellboy 3 would have been, now there's a chance of okay, maybe they can make a decent amount of money off of a Hellboy reboot. Especially now that rated R movies are, the thing, because
rated R
Deadpool did well.
Movies?
Exactly right. All they have to do, if you're pitching it to big wigs up at studios, all these people, old men in suits, say this is a comic book movie like Deadpool that made this much money, and it's going to be R-rated like Deadpool, which made this much money. Then we're going to make it for only this much money. They'll be like, you've done it again, Daniel. Here's all the money.
You figured it out.
You son of a bitch. Make the Rise of the Blood Queen or King, whatever you're calling it.
The Rise
Go
of the
make money.
Whatever.
So we're going to get it.
Make the rise of my penis. Whoa! Calm down, executives.
Now get out of here. I gotta check my bank account.
Is that what he jerks off to?
He does. I just imagine him with a giant cigar, and he's got the old time receipt paper, ching, 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 just punching all that shit in. Feet up on the desk.
Why am I imagining J. Jonah Jameson here?
Well, I don't know. Cigar, I guess. And he kicks you out of his office
and
all the
fucking
fucking
time.
time.
A desk.
That's right. Speaking of Deadpool, according to Variety, FXX has picked up a season of an animated Deadpool series with Donald and Stephen Glover as the showrunners.
Donald Glover previously voiced Miles Morales in the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon and served as the initial inspiration for the character.
This is set to come out in 2018, so next year. A Deadpool animated series, why hasn't anyone thought about this? Holy shit, this is going to get a shit ton of ratings. Everyone's going to watch this. They can tie it into the movie if they wanted to. And you already have a tie-in to other Marvel works with Donald Glover. I mean, holy shit. This could... What if he plays Miles Morales in the Deadpool cartoon?
That'd be so cool.
Now, I know kids are going to want to watch this Deadpool cartoon, and I don't know how it's going to really run. If it's on FXX or FX or whatever, It's probably going to be aimed at an older audience, but kids are still going to watch it.
Play at midnight. It's going to be like the new Samurai Jack, where kids are watching it, but that's really not a kid's show.
Yeah, they'll put it during the Adult Swim hours of FXX. I mean, this is going to do well, right? We're going to see at least 3 or 4 seasons out of this shit.
Oh, yeah, easy, because all the adults are going to watch it. We're all going to record it on our little recordy things. I'm waiting. You're definitely right, though. Some kids are going to be like, Mom, I'm going to record this. She's like, cool, whatever. And she's going to walk in the middle of something one time, and we're going to get letters.
I've had parents tell me I made the mistake of bringing my child to Deadpool, thinking it's going to be like every superhero movie, even though it's rated R. Yeah, that's the thing.
Why would you not? I remember back in the day, right? Back in my day, when I was 13, there were websites that you can go to, and they would tell you why things were rated what they were rated.
Yes.
Exactly. There's this in here, there's this in here, there's a scene where this happens. Why would you not, if you're taking your child somewhere, why would you not go read those? Why would you not research what you're taking them to? Particularly when it's rated R.
Even IMDb.com alone, you can go to the ratings and it will tell you all of the scenes that are in the movie that have that particular content. So it'll say violence, all of these scenes, and it'll give you a breakdown. You know, sex or sensuality, it'll give you all of that. Language, it'll tell you everything. So there are sites like IMDb, very easy to access. You can check that shit. You should have checked it before Deadpool. You should have checked it before Logan.
Hashtag check that shit.
Check that shit.
But they should have. They didn't. Good for their kids. They learned some new things.
Are we going to see the Deadpool animated series?
Yeah, we'll watch some episodes.
All right. If you had said no, I would have been okay. You said yes, I'll watch a couple.
We have to watch a few episodes. We got to find somebody with cable. Make them record it for us.
Got to talk about it on the podcast.
Yep. It's for the viewers, Dan.
The listeners?
Yes. Whatever. They view our Twitter, hopefully.
So here's something you should be excited about.
Yes.
More than Deadpool.
More than Deadpool.
More than Hellboy.
More than Hellboy.
Justice League Dark.
Woo. Well, only one of the Justice League Darks.
2?
There's a 2?
No. What do you mean? Like,
I only like one of the Justice League Darks people.
You like Constantine?
Yes.
And you like Swamp Thing.
Oh.
That's 2.
Yeah, okay, 2 of them. You're right. So, Justice League Dark movie director Doug Liman recently talked about the upcoming DC project.
And we have a quote here from Doug who said, I think people will be surprised how character-driven and how intimate Justice League Dark is. In kind of a field of bloated comic book movies, we found a way to do something that's actually really personal and small, and that's my goal. My new movie, The Wall, is about character. The scenario allows me to dive into what I think is, and I just love people. I love putting people in crazy situations. For John Constantine, we have an amazing setup for him for Justice League Dark that's really human, end quote.
So, Constantine's going to be in this movie.
Correct.
The Wall.
Well, no. That's what it sounds like, right? The way he talked about it. Instead, it sounds like Constantine is going to be the heart of the character. He's going to be like the Deadshot, what he was in Suicide Squad.
Aww.
Constantine will be that for Justice League Dark.
I still remember his music all the time. And I'm like, Deadshot. Ugh.
Deadshot was cool. I don't know why people give Will Smith shit for that. I've heard people give him shit.
I thought he was awesome.
He was a great character. Harley Quinn was awesome. And then you had Diablo at the very end coming fucking through. Awesome movie. It's a lot of fun.
Fucking Aztec god. He needs to come back in the second one. He better come back.
He better. So what do you think about John Constantine being the center of Justice League Dark?
About time.
It makes sense, right?
Yeah.
He is arguably the leader of this particular group. And will this be... This has to be them coming together, right? This is going to be the movie of how they started working together, especially for a franchise that's so unfamiliar to, the massive audience as Justice League Dark. You're going to have to do this is when they teamed up. Maybe we're going to have a scene of Batfleck at the very end or sometime in the movie, not necessarily doing what they did in the animated adaptation, but him saying, if you guys need me, call me, but you are in charge of essentially the magical part or the demon control of the DC universe. Magic
doesn't exist, but lead it anyway.
Defeat it somehow.
I don't have time for this shit.
He's got better shit to worry about.
Yeah, he does.
Not
like
fucking magic tricks and
shit.
stuff. But there better be some kind of nod, if Zatanna's in this, of her and Batman's previous relationship. No. Just because, for the animated series and the comic book fans, you got to do something like that.
No, he should only be with Catwoman.
Swamp Thing. Do you CGI him, or do you do prosthetics like Killer Croc?
I would hope that they would do prosthetics. The fight scenes are going to be real hard. You're not going to be able to prosthetic his fight scenes.
Here's my only difference. I think they should CGI him only because he is much more massive compared to Killer Croc. And I'm not talking about the Arkham video games Killer Croc, where he's like bigger than the Incredible Hulk.
Where he is a real crocodile.
No, more like the animated series or even the early comic appearance of Killer Croc, where he is like in the movies. He's, a bigger guy, but he's not a fucking
He's
monstrosity.
a guy with a disease.
Exactly
not,
right.
Yeah.
And instead, Swamp Thing is, he is fucking huge. He is a massive fucking guy.
The Beast is huge. They just stuck him on little stiltsies. Granted, they CGI'd him in the end.
All right, so let's do this. Do like in the recent Ghostbusters, where they have the prosthetics and then they enhance it with
there
CGI.
You go. I like that.
So you can have like bugs crawling on him, or you can have that wet look to Swamp Thing. But he still has his abs. It's okay.
Oh,
so bugs crawling down
handsome?
his abs.
Gross. Oh no, that did not make it better.
One of my favorite statues for Swamp Thing has a little frog like on his shoulder. I love it. A little tree frog.
That's the cutest. So is this Constantine going to be my Constantine?
Most likely it will not be television Constantine. Stop. Because then you'd be mixing up the TV. They're not going to do that. It's never going to happen.
Then I'm not going to like it. I don't like it. Then
not going to happen, and they shouldn't mix it up. They should not mix it up. I don't like it. Aside from the fact that they're different companies, the television and the movie side, so that's a fucking headache right there. But two, they've already established so many things on the television universe that they would have to address on the movie side for it to make sense. It does. The only way this would work is if Constantine somehow traveled into Earth DCEU and then was also the Constantine on that universe. But even then, I know I want that same live action Constantine, and he's our favorite. That's not going to be the one we see. It's going to be a new casting.
You know how you explain him being there?
All right, give it a shot. Let's hear this.
It's fucking magic. But we do have one quote here. If it is not TV show Constantine, Kelli will not like it. End quote.
What if it's a better interpretation than you? And you would have said that it's impossible for you to ever like any form of Constantine, period. And that ended up being wrong.
Who have we now agreed calls everything forever because she also called the gender of our child?
This is different, though. There is a difference here.
It's not.
Are you calling that this Constantine will for sure not be a good What if you get Colin Farrell as Constantine? A lot of people are saying Colin Farrell.
What?
He was the villain in the new Harry Potter movie.
No, he was horrible. I hated him. He was weird. Don't do it. I am calling that I will not like this Constantine as much as TV show Constantine. Because TV show Constantine was so fucking good that he took me from a character that I loathed and made me like him. Nobody else can do that.
So you've already decided that this Constantine is not going to be... So he has no matter... Even if they do the best possible version of Constantine,
it won't be
it's
TV
not going to be good for you.
Is it TV Constantine? What's even the actor's name?
I am going to keep my mind open.
You do that.
And we shall see. I'm excited for Justice League Dark.
I
can't wait to see Zatanna.
To die a little bit on the inside.
And I can't wait to see fucking Swamp Thing. That is the one I'm like, yes, fucking Swamp Thing. I can't fucking wait.
You know what would make Constantine good? If it was Snape.
Alan Rickman?
Yeah.
Well, that can't happen. Unless they fucking do a Princess Leia and kind of recreate him in it.
Fine, we'll see. I'll keep my mind open, but I'm not expecting great things.
Do you remember this was initially titled Dark Universe?
Yes.
It seems like they've gone back to Justice League Dark as the title of it, and if they end up doing another Justice League Dark comic book, maybe that's what they'll... I mean, there's already been so many changes in the DCEU based on how well certain movies did, like Suicide Squad, or how people have taken such a positive spin, or they've stuck to Batfleck so well that they said, okay, let's give the Batman universe 4 or 5 movies. Let's do Nightwing. Let's do Batgirl. Let's do the solo Batman film. So this could be one of those changes where they said, okay, instead of doing the Flash movie right away, why don't we invest in another team-up movie, the Justice League Dark?
Yeah, whatever. Just spend your money. We're going to give you our money. It's going to make money. That's what it boils down to at the end of the day. Do you think they could do a Starfire movie? I would like a Starfire movie.
I would too. I don't think she can't hold her own movie.
If you told her whole backstory?
I don't think she can hold her own movie.
You don't know
I'm
her
sorry.
whole backstory then, clearly.
It's the same reason why she doesn't have a Starfire ongoing right now. It's the same reason why Poison Ivy doesn't have an ongoing story right now. Same thing with Lobo. He can hold his own comic book, and neither can the other two characters. And the same thing with the movies, although they had been talking about doing a Lobo solo movie.
No, don't do it.
It's a tough sell for me. You can instead do any other character that would probably stand better on the big screen. But I don't know, maybe with a lot of people were saying after Deadpool came out, maybe DC's looking into what's similar to that. Although he's more like Wolverine, they said, what's an R-rated character we can go with? And one of the things was Deadpool. Quinn. Harley Quinn is definitely a good one. Give her own movie, which they sort of are with the Gotham City Sirens.
With the Gossip City Sirens? Is that like Sex in the City? They just gossip? I cannot wait for that movie, by the way, though. Gotham City Sirens. Let's just talk about that instead of this crappy Not Constantine movie.
So that does wrap it up for our news this week. Before we jump into Batman number 22 and our full spoiler review of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, let's go ahead and give our Patreon shoutouts of the week.
Our two shoutouts go to Bobby, whose Twitter handle is @CubanSlim, and Neil, who is @InMats68.
Thank you so much to Bobby and Neil. Bobby recently tweeted out his very own copy of Suicide Squad, the Blu-ray version. He tweeted that out last month with the 2017 Broskers, the Broskers sticker on that Suicide Squad copy. So huge thanks, Bobby, for sharing that. And also Neil, he recently, or will be registering for the Disney 2018 Wine and Dine race.
Oh, that race that you're going to run?
Y'all are nuts. I am not going to be running no 13 miles.
There were a whole lot of people who said you need to run 13 miles.
There were a shit ton of people. Like, people wanted me to run this race more than they wanted tote bags, more than they wanted to know whether it was a boy or a girl. People straight up were like, no, Dan, you need to fucking run.
Why would you say no to the people? These are our listeners. These are our Patreon supporters, Daniel. And you're telling them no.
Are there any Patreon supporters that want me to not run, that are saying, Dan, you will not make it. You will die if you run 13 point whatever miles.
None of them are saying that because we know you won't die.
Well, let's see this week. Maybe someone will come, and I've already refuted this anyway, in a grand fashion with the Star Wars analogies. Shut all that shit down.
And I still told you that you would be the greatest running Jedi ever. You could wear your The Reasons I'm Broke shirt on the run.
That's true, and then throw up a ton. Who's going to take pictures of that?
I'll take pictures.
You can take pictures of me while I'm on the fucking bus after they've picked me up after mile 2.
They're not going to pick you up. I will usher you. See, here's the thing. When you go into running, and we've discussed this before, you just run. You try to run like a 4-minute mile to get this mile over with. You can't do that with long races.
It's not that I'm trying to get it over with. It's I'm trying to push myself. Because I push myself, I heal. Next time I can push myself further and heal again.
Okay, Vegeta.
It's true, though. Like, yeah, I risk injury, but I also risk gaining everything.
Like running 13.1 miles.
Which I haven't been running, and I'm not going to be running. We're going to have a child, Kelli.
You don't think I'm going to want to run after we have this little boy?
If running is taking place of me changing diapers, then yeah, maybe I'll run. But aside from that, I don't know. I don't think you're not going to get me to run this
every poopy diaper, you can go run a mile. How's that?
That's not even a fair trade. Like,
why is that
5 poopy diapers? Like, they're both pretty equally bad. Like, changing shit and running a mile, they're both pretty there. Like, they're comparable. Plus, I'm going to need the fucking running tape. I'm going to have shin splints, although it sounds like a white people thing. It sounds like I wouldn't get it. Although I'm not made for running. Look at these tiny legs. Like, Mexicans aren't running no marathons.
I ran marathons, and my legs are tinier than yours.
Clearly, you were made for running. I wasn't.
How do you know? Have you ever run a long way?
I can barely run a mile. That's how I know.
Okay,
that I
could barely run a mile when I started. Oh my goodness. We're just going to argue about this forever. There's no Patreon supporter that does not want you to run this.
If you also want to become a Patreon backer
and tell Daniel to run this,
head on over to patreon.com/TheReasonsImBroke for as little as $1 a month. That equals out to 25 cents an episode. You too can help out Kelli and I with the podcast. We are on our way to goal number 3. And we also have currently 26, I believe, iTunes reviews. So we have gone up 26 or 27. So huge thanks for those iTunes reviews. Keep them coming. It takes 2 minutes. But otherwise, once again, patreon.com/TheReasonsImBroke. And if you go up to the $5 tier, you can also get some decals. So for less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks, you can support the Patreon. You can support the Reasons I'm Broke podcast.
Of course, guys, our podcast will always be free. You can always listen for free. You can always tell Daniel to run for free on our Twitters. Best thing you can do for us, though, tell your friends about us. Leave us a review, like you said, on iTunes. Reach out to us on Twitter. Let us know what you liked in the show, what you want to see differently. And that's at Reasons I'm Broke or at Kelli.
And another thanks to decalavenue.com for the help at the $5 reward tier. And we also want to remind everyone, as an extra incentive to become a Patreon backer, we're currently running the same promotion all the way until June 1st that we did last week for our Breisner Awards and the Breisner giveaway. So we picked out 2 of the works that ended up winning the very prestigious 2017 Breisner Awards, and that was Paul Dini's A Dark Knight trade paperback, or in this case it's a hardcover we're giving away, and the copy of The Mighty Thor Volume 1, in which we gave both of them the Mighty Thor 1 for Best Colorist, and the A Dark Knight 1 for Best Story Based on a True Event. So both of those have won the 2017 Breisner Awards, and you can win the hard copy of Paul Dini's work or the Mighty Thor trade paperback of Volume 1. And that's anyone that is a Patreon backer at whatever level you're at, from $1 to anything above, you are automatically entered to win one of these 2 books. So you still have a chance. If you haven't become a Patreon backer and you're like, hey, you know what? I want to help out the show. I've got $1 to spare every month. And why not? Let me enter this contest. Head on over to patreon.com/TheReasonsImBroke. Become a backer before June 1st, and you will be entered into the giveaway.
Can I be entered in the giveaway?
Yes, for $1 a month, you too can be entered in the giveaway.
I support you for a whole lot more than that.
It's only for Patreon backers.
I'm just saying I'm the ultimate Patreon backer.
Are you denying the Patreon backers? So you're trying to lower their chances of winning. You hear this, Brokettes? She's trying to take away your hardcover and your trade paperback. See how quickly I spun that around on you? I should be a politician.
You have learned a lot in marriage. I'm proud of you.
Also, a couple of real quick announcements. We will be at MegaCon on Thursday and Friday. Be sure to, if you are going to MegaCon, if you're in the Central Florida area, go to the Blue Juice Comics booth. There are longtime friends of the podcast, and they will have a booth there where you can pick up indie comics. So these are Ether and Empire, The Accelerators, and Bonnie. And the creators for a lot of these books will be there to do commissions, to sign the books. And if anything, stop by to say hi, because they are awesome people. They're friends of us, and Blue Juice Comics, again, will be the booth and at MegaCon for all 4 days. That's Thursday through Sunday.
Absolutely. They have some great stories, guys. Go by and pick them up. Like we said, just go by and say hi. They are a fantastic people.
You know what I completely forgot about?
Have you called me pretty today?
I've told you I love you. Isn't that greater than pretty? Yes, so I did it again. I spun that around on you. Gotta be on my toes all the time.
Because you can love ugly things.
But what's important, Kelly? That I love you or that I think you're pretty?
Both are equally important.
No, which was more important?
They're equal.
So you'd rather have someone think you're pretty than someone who loves you.
No, I would like you to do. I would like your love to make me look prettier to you. Therefore, you think I'm pretty.
So, Free Comic Book Day 2017. Huge, always. The one that I personally participated in was bigger than last year. So awesome that all of these people came out to the local comic book shop that I work at and supported us and came out and got free books, but also got a little something extra as well. That's something that I saw more this year than any of the years prior on Facebook and on Twitter, where people are saying, yeah, it's great that you're trying out some free comic books and go out and get something new, try out a brand new story, but don't forget that these aren't free to the publishers or free to the comic shops. That does actually cost them quite a bit, because if you're ordering thousands of books, as little, however much they cost them, that still builds up over time. Yeah, it's great that a lot of people said, and I also picked up these trade paperbacks, and I also picked up these comics. One guy I talked to said he had been to 7 shops, so you can try to get one of everything that was offered on Free Comic Book Day. But But he also said that he's bought something at all 7 shops
amazing.
that he was at, which was awesome. It was incredible. It was amazing.
Give that man more free comic books.
Yeah, definitely. And I saw that on Twitter too, where a lot of people were like, look at all this shit. Free comic book day cost me $103. I think I did that wrong. It's like, yes, man, give your fucking retweet. That is amazing. So it was an amazing time. I loved it. I love free comic book day. It is the biggest time of the year, the biggest day of the year for comic shops out there. It's bigger than Black Friday. So it's just an amazing time. It's fun. The cosplayers that came out made it an amazing experience for the people and the other customers that were there. It's an event, you know. It is a thing that everyone looks forward to. They love the free comic books. The kids are happy. People are happy. They go home and they read something, and then potentially that gets them into something new that they can use for, you know, in the future. They'll want to pick up that that SpongeBob trade paperback, or the Secret Empire that's going on with Marvel, or that Wonder Woman Rebirth trade paperback, since they gave that out. So awesome stuff. Love free comic book day. If you were able to go, great. If you supported your comic shop, even if you already support them on a week or month basis, that is awesome. Huge thanks. Know that it is very much appreciated from all of these brick and mortar stores.
I love the picture that you posted right after of, survived another one.
Yeah, but this year I wasn't as tired.
Good.
Like, I wasn't as run down or tired. Like, my back still hurt, but not as much as last year. I was, like, really, really run down last year, but I'm getting stronger.
So you're getting stronger.
Correct.
So you can do more than you did a year ago.
Yes. I can work more free comic book days than I can ever before, what I'm saying.
But I'm saying you're stronger than you were.
I'm retail strong, absolutely. I'm definitely retail strong.
Running strong?
That has nothing to do with retail.
You don't know
that. Has nothing to do with free comics.
Tried?
I was not running in the store.
Have you tried? Listen.
I was running a fucking register.
We're going to start running, and if your pregnant-ass wife can run a mile and you can't run a mile, then we got some problems.
Then we know for sure that I can't run 13. Like, even if I can't run along with my pregnant wife, then I definitely shouldn't be running no 13. We'll give it a shot. I'll fucking run a mile. I don't give a damn.
I want to run a mile, and then your baby's like, the fuck are you doing, Mom? I'm not made for running.
I was sleeping, assholes. All right, on to our comic book highlight of the week.
As we mentioned in the very beginning, this is Batman number 22, The Button, part 3 of 4. It's written by Joshua Williamson and Tom King, with art by Jason Fabok, and the colorist is Brad Anderson.
So far, The Button, part 3 is my favorite of the entire 4-part series, and part 4 will be coming out next week. It did get delayed by a week, but this was such a fucking incredible issue. To give you the quick rundown on it, if you haven't read The Button, and this is going to be spoilers, just a heads up, and this is your warning, but the Reverse Flash in part 1, after he beat up the Batman, where Batman was pretending to be beat up, as we said in the review, he went off and followed the energy of the Button. So whatever was connected to that Watchman, to the comedian's button, he followed it, and when he came back, half of him was gone, like almost a la Manhattan style, but he wasn't vaporized like Dr. Manhattan does, or he wasn't exploded like he does, where they're just like blood and goo. Instead, it was like he was burned away, or half of him, but it was still a blue light. So they are alluding to the fact that maybe it is Dr. Manhattan that's doing this.
I wish he would have come back and been like, I feel cold, and then dropped an apple. I'd been like, it's Jack Sparrow!
So in this issue, instead, the Flash and Batman try to do the same thing. They try to follow the energy from the Button. Along the way, they see different continuities from the past of the DC Universe. Stuff that shouldn't exist anymore thanks to Final Crisis, but it does. And that's the whole theme of Rebirth, in which everything counts again, and that's what everyone wanted. They wanted legacy, and DC Comics is bringing it back. But they're also revisiting Flashpoint. They're following the mystery that it wasn't necessarily the Flash that caused the DC New 52, but maybe Dr. Manhattan or someone had a hand in it by removing 10 years from the history. So as they go back to investigate, instead they get hit by blue energy or blue lightning bolt that makes them spiral into the Flashpoint universe, which is back where the Flash had gone to, and they see Thomas Wayne again. And this is the existence in which he's still around, in spite of the fact that the Flash promised that this universe would not exist. So it's a little bizarre, because Flashpoint almost didn't fix that universe. It still exists, but it could also be I forgot who told me, but this could also be a gift from Dr. Manhattan so that Batman could meet Thomas Wayne.
And then this book takes your heart and it rips it out of your chest and crumbles into little pieces and laughs as it falls to the floor.
The interaction between father and son, between Bruce and Thomas, is everything you could have expected. And as soon as I got to the shop, I got the book and I read it. And I was in the back just in tears. Like, I was crying when he tells him the letter that came back from Flashpoint. It meant the world to me. And if there's one thing I wanted to tell you out of that, is that you're a grandfather. I have a son. And it's just like, oh my, that's when I just broke down. And then he tells Bruce that he means so much to him as a father, and don't be Batman anymore. Be the father that I wanted to be to you, which he could never be in any reality or existence, you know? He can't raise him into adulthood. That's not going to happen. And he tells him, raise your son like I couldn't. Please do this for me. And Batman's yelling, and he says, we can save you. Come with us on the cosmic treadmill. And he just says, you already have, Bruce. And I'm just fucking I'm down. I'm in tears. And I'm just like, holy shit, this fucking book. $4 this is worth $20. This is worth $30 to see that interaction, Bruce and Thomas. The button is already worth it. All 4 parts have paid for themselves.
It was definitely so amazing. I can't put any more emotions into it than you already have. I'm tearing up just thinking about it. And I'm sure it's worse for you now that you're a father of a son.
Yes, it meant more to me. It was crazy. It's especially now that I've told my dad that he's going to be a grandfather when I told him months ago. And it's so similar and it's so awesome and it's beautiful. And there's something special about that moment, just like it is with mother and father, or mother and mother, or I'm sorry, daughter and father, daughter and mother, father and son. And that's why I reflected so much on this. And one of my coworkers said they missed the opportunity where we could have had that book where Thomas and Damian and Bruce all interacted together. And it's like, yes, but this is comic books. We could still get that, you know. But aside from that, this was such an excellent payoff and such a beautiful moment. Now, why do you think he did not get on the treadmill with his son to meet his grandson, to be there for his son in any capacity?
Because he knew that his world shouldn't have existed. He should not have existed as Batman. It wasn't supposed to happen. So sure, he could have left, and then it's a toss-up. Would he have even made it there? Because we see moments after that whole existence disappears again. And he just jumps right into it like, fuck yeah, here I go. But it's a toss-up. He may have disappeared anyway, and
yeah, that's true.
At the end of the day, and we see it in the beginning of the book, when we see him, he was done with living that life. He's done with that pain, and we've seen it multiple times with Batman. It doesn't matter what situation he's in or who surrounds him, that pain is still always there. And it would have been for Thomas, too. He would have met his grandson, and that would have been great, and maybe he would have gone on missions with Batman, but he would have had the pain of losing his Bruce and his Martha and all the shit that he went through. And then watching Batman make the same mistakes that he's making. His son is making those same mistakes. He got to end his existence knowing that his son had a son, that he had a grandson out there. And his grandson's a little shit, and he probably would have been a little shit to him too. But he ended in that final moment knowing, my world was shit, but my son is still alive out there. I
saved that world.
And, yes.
Which was the confirmation he needed at the beginning of the book.
Exactly. And his world is okay, and he is okay. So that's how Bruce saved him in the end. And going with him wouldn't have changed the way that he feels, or, you know, he wasn't supposed to be there. But he still had that confirmation that, all right, my son is okay.
So it was such an incredible... To lighten things up a little, my coworker Alex said, what if he had also said, by the way, your mom was the Joker, bye? Like, Bruce would have been like, wait, what?
That would have been great.
Incredible book. If you're not buying the button, definitely do it. And I'm going to tell you what all 4 parts are, because DC did not do a good job in putting part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4 on the covers like they should have.
Look for them shiny covers.
Yeah, look for the lenticular covers. Batman 21 is part 1, Flash 21 is part 2, Batman 22 is part 3, and Flash 22 will be part 4, which comes out next Wednesday. So Batman 22 and 23, Batman 21 and 22, and Flash 21 and 22. Pretty easy to remember, 21 and 22 on both, and you'll have all 4 parts. It is excellent. I don't know if they're going to collect it as its own trade paperback. I hope they do.
That would be great.
But in spite of that, it is an excellent, excellent read, and I can't wait for that final part. Are we going to see, the way the book ends, they're going back to the energy of the Watchmen button, and they've come across a past version of of Reverse Flash, before he meets God, as he put it in his own words, I saw God. Are they going to see Dr. Manhattan next time? Are we going to get that glimpse?
We'll see whoever killed Reverse Flash. I think we're going to see him.
If this ends with a silhouette or one glimpse of Manhattan blasting Reverse Flash, I think readers will be... I know they've been saying, like, where's the mystery? I need to know what's happening with the Watchmen universe. I think that will keep them at bay for quite a bit, because then it's like... Yes, this is fucking it. Aside from the cover of DC Rebirth where you see Manhattan's hand touching Superman's, this would be like the first, actual in-continuity appearance of Manhattan.
Can I choose what we see of Manhattan? Can I make that choice?
His big blue dick, right?
No, we can't put that in there, but like maybe his right butt cheek, like half of his right butt cheek. Like very muscled and defined, and you're like, oh, that's a blue-ass butt cheek. I know who that is.
Yeah, or what about his left butt cheek? That way, it's symbolic of the left side of Reverse Flash that he blasted away. Exactly right.
I like the way you think. Matching up butt cheeks with dissolved people.
Look, I don't care how silly it is. I'm putting symbolism in that shit.
Wait, but then wouldn't you only see his right butt cheek as symbolism of the left missing?
That too, yeah, you could do it that way too. That's an even that's for the heavier readers, for the ones that really read into this shit. Absolutely. So that was our comic book highlight. It was Batman number 22. From here on forward, it is going to be the spoiler-filled Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 review. If you haven't seen it, and this is where we leave off, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for the support. If you're a Patreon backer, thank you. If you listen on iTunes, thank you for subscribing. And just for tuning in, for retweeting, for interacting with us. Awesome. Thank you so much. We do appreciate any support that we get from the Brokettes. But aside from that, we are moving forward with our Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 review.
Except maybe her. After all these years, I've found you.
And who the hell are you?
I'm your dad, Peter.
The way we're going to format this review is first we're going to start out with some fun facts. We're going to tell you who was in the movie, who directed it, what kind of money it's made so far. And then we're going to talk about the story, which includes the acting and directing, and the special effects.
So based on those 3 categories, story, acting/directing, and special effects, we will give this movie a rating out of 5. Are we doing out of 5 Baby Groots?
I think it should be mixtapes.
Out of 5 mixtapes. Sounds good to me. Because there'll probably be 5 Guardians of the Galaxy movies.
There's only one Baby Groot.
Not according to how it should have ended. Because they're like, by the logic of the movie, you just take a random stick and you plant it and that happens to be Groot. So shouldn't there be a million Groots on that planet since there's just sticks everywhere when he exploded?
I hope there's a million Groots on that planet.
I guess the way the comics explain it is that only one of them has the essence of Groot, or the life of Groot, so he just happened to grab the one that was Groot.
He just magically grabbed that Groot essence.
So aside from that, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 was directed by James Gunn, who did the very first movie, and it stars Chris Pratt from Jurassic World, Zoe Saldana from Star Trek Into Darkness, and Dave Bautista from Spectre.
According to Deadline, the film has reached a domestic opening weekend of over $140 million. This puts it on track to make 50% more than the first Guardians. Worldwide so far, this movie has made over $400 million.
So it surpassed the first one. That's no surprise, right? And the first one did so well, but now even more people are familiar with these characters than ever before. So yes, Volume 2 will make way more money, and Marvel/Disney seems to be on fire as far as money making when it comes to these movies. So let's actually talk about the review, go straight into it, and starting off with the story itself.
So the movie opens up with them talking to some gold people, saving from a thing. That's the best way.
From a Men in Black alien.
Yes.
Basically.
From a space beast or whatever it was called. And then, of course, Rocket does dumb stuff. They get chased. They crash. We meet his father. Quill's father.
Peter Quill's father, finally, which was one of the things that James Gunn said on Twitter was going to be answered in this movie. And that is Ego, played by Kurt Russell.
Are we sure it wasn't the other guy?
You and my
Jeff
sister
Bridges?
both thought it was Jeff Bridges.
It looks exactly like Jeff Bridges.
I guess, but I don't think so. It looks like Kurt Russell to me, but that's because I know what Kurt Russell looks like. You just assumed it was old white guy. It's Jeff Bridges. He plays pretty much the same character.
He does pretty much. Wasn't he in Tron? He
played in Tron too.
He played the same guy.
Yeah, this dad who's teaching him how to control Tron World, and just like Eagle's teaching him how to control the planet. And I hope that the CinemaSins does something with that. There's no way they don't. They've got to do it.
They have the same hair and everything.
That's true. And they were both Disney movies, Tron and Guardians.
Done.
Ego takes him and a few of the Guardians back to his planet, which we find out is him. He is a cosmic entity, what is equivalent to what we would call a god. He is immortal in a sense. He's lived for millions of years, and throughout those years, he has figured out how to essentially create things into existence. He created this planet around him. He figured out how to make an extension of his body so that he can shoot himself out into different parts of the universe through a spaceship.
Sure, to shoot a sperm out into different parts of the universe.
For sure. Yeah, we'll get that near the end. But the whole thing is that Peter Quill has the same power, and they're able to, in a very nice moment, they play ball just like father and son, in which they toss this little cosmic ball around, which I thought was really nice. Mm-hmm. But aside from that, at one point Rocket gets kidnapped along with Baby Groot and the guy that everyone likes now, Yondu. And so there's like Gamora's a side story with that. There's a side story with Gamora's sister. It's a lot of them developing the characters further than what the first one did and building on what the first one did. Now, my issue was that it comes to a standstill, a complete fucking halt about 30 minutes in. And it stays that way for like a good 50 to an hour. I mean, there's some slight action sequences, but for the most part, it is a ton of fucking exposition.
Yeah.
To the point where I'm like, where's the pacing? Did no one go through the screenplay like once or twice or three times? So that is an issue with it, that as far as the story, that it does stop. It comes to a halt. And most of the time, if you have to have exposition and you have to explain things, you're going to break that energy up with something else. And they don't do that in Volume 2. They don't do that like in Volume 1, where it is one of the 5 Marvel movies that I liked. And instead, this one just completely, it almost falls apart at that point. And then at the end, there's another issue where continuing on the story, we find out that Ego has been, as you mentioned, throwing his sperm throughout the universe, trying to procreate and trying to make essentially another one of himself that can access the cosmic power so that he can spread himself even further, put his entity and control more planets and control the universe. What he did is he put a little spore on each of these planets that he visited, but he can't actually activate them by himself. He needs a second cosmic entity. So when he finds Peter Quill, he says, "You can't access this. I need you." And he tries to explain to him what they're trying to do. They're trying to expand and essentially make a better use of existence than what everyone else has done. He was disappointed by, evolution and by all these different aliens and by their technology. He says, I can do it way better. So why don't I? Why don't I just make myself the universe?
Yeah, why not?
It matches his name, right? Ego. But Peter Quill's like, well, maybe we shouldn't do that because it's going to kill a lot of people. But the part that tips him over is he's explaining to him the stuff about his mom and how he didn't go back to Earth because he loved her so much that if he visited a third time or a fourth time, he mentioned, then he wouldn't go back and he wouldn't abandon his mission of spreading himself across the universe, which I thought was pretty awesome. I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool that he actually did fall in love for this one creature out of all of the different people that he had in the universe. So the one thing that I'm like, there's no fucking reason for this in the story aside from the fact that you have no other reason for Peter or you as the audience member to oppose Ego. and you didn't need this, but he tells Peter Quill straight up, it was a shame that I had to put that tumor in her head. And I'm like, what? You didn't have to tell him any of that.
No.
Why did you fucking tell him that you put a tumor in her fucking head? And I know it's for the audience, so they're like, oh, he's a bad person. You can hear the audience like, oh no, he's bad. But that's when Peter's like, you motherfucker, like he shoots him and blows him away. He tries to kill him. That's when he's like, I'm never going to work with you. This is not a plan I'm going to share in. You're a monster. You're really an evil person. You're not really like my dad. And again, this is where I'm like, there's no fucking reason for this. He did not need to tell him this shit. You could have written it where instead he already opposed it, because why would he want to take over this universe? Why would you want to end these existences, this universe filled with people that he actually does care about, like the Guardians of the Galaxy? So that would have been enough. And then if later you wanted to reveal in some other way, if he wanted to upset his son in the middle of them fighting already by revealing that he put the tumor in her head or something, okay. But it was just like such a fucking moment that I'm like, this is not good. At the end of the day, they end up having to go into the center of Earth, or this planet. I'll let you continue. I've been talking for a while.
No, but they have to go to the center of planet Ego, which we pan out later and find that it's just a giant angry face. And then going,
yeah.
So they have to go in there, and they're going to plant a bomb to blow him up, and essentially is going to explode the planet, and life will be saved, because that's the only way to kill him, is putting he was a giant brain.
In the center of this,
giant human brain
yep.
that developed millions and millions of years ago in the center of a planet. So they get down there, and of course, because he's everywhere and can control everything, he's down there fighting with them too. And then you have our buddy with the antennas.
Oh, Mantis.
Who is able to put him to sleep, which is awesome. But
one of the things he needed for whatever reason. He needs rest, I guess.
Yes.
Anyway.
But of course, it can't be that easy as just putting it in there and blowing him up. Then the people that we saw in the beginning that we stole stuff from, the elites, the ultimates, the
Ravagers or what? Oh, you're talking about the gold ones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They all show up and they're like, oh, we're going to kill you again. So now we got to fight them and we got to fight this guy. And there's lots of fighting going on and blowing up. And it's just action for a very long time.
The action that should have been more spread out throughout the middle of the film.
Right. Is right at the end. And they're doing all this fighting. Of course, they defeat him. Mm-hmm. Not without some casualties.
Right. And by the way, Groot was able to get to in front of the brain. And even though he is the planet and controls it, he was not able to sense that Baby Groot was running around with this bomb. He can't sense himself. Which... okay, you're not as strong as Dr. Manhattan, but you're this planet, and you can control everything in it, yet you cannot sense everything. It's such a bizarre thing. Like, the fact that his avatar, his extension, his Kurt Russell, is what's running around, and that when you stop that, then you can slow him down. It's like, no, he's the fucking goddamn planet. He's a god.
Right. He is everything.
It's one of the things that I will be like, okay, that's an issue, and there's not a solution to that, really. Not with what you've done here, so... They end up exploding the planet, as you mentioned. The casualty, and this is the part that you liked, the casualty ends up being Yondu, who at the beginning they already alluded to you with that scene from Sly of, you will never have a fireworks display during your funeral, is essentially what he fucking said.
Because he said that he was in child smuggling, and that was against the code. He couldn't be smuggling children and essentially selling them. And then you're kind of like, oh, he is kind of a bad guy. But then you find out later that he was hired by Ego to pick up all his kids and bring them over. Oh, by the way, so yes, Ego did throw his sperm everywhere, and when the kids didn't have the superpower, he just killed them. Right. So the Guardians do find a mountain of bones of children.
And different species, which was pretty cool. Like, that is probably the best connection to the first movie, in which they said this is why Peter Quill was taken away, and this is why Yondu held on to him, was because he was finding out that Ego was killing all of these kids, and he's like, well... no, I'm just going to keep him instead and not give him to Ego. So I thought that was that was probably the best written part of the movie, was the connection with Yondu, Peter, and Ego for the second movie. So in the way for him to kind of make up for what he did in the past, he saves Peter Quill's life by finding him on the planet and giving him the only jetpack, because Rocket only had one. And
the spacesuit.
Correct, the spacesuit.
So Yondu has on the jetpack. He gives Quill the spacesuit and grabs him, and they're flying out of there, going into space. And Quill's like, no, what are you doing? And then Yondu's sitting there going, he may have been your father, but I was your dad. And I'm like...
No, he killed the quote. He says, that man may have been your father, boy, but he wasn't your daddy.
And then we get a flashback of all these Yondu Quill things, like 2 Yondu Quill things.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, what the fuck? Where did this come from? Where was this in the movie? They never built up to this. Oh, now we're getting that, so now we're supposed to feel shit? Fuck you, movie.
And who was sobbing over there?
Why were you... Well, because you're pregnant. That's what I'm going to say. It's because you're pregnant, Kelly. That's why. Because I'm a crier at movies. I did not cry at this shit, because I'm like, there's no connection here.
They didn't build it up as well as they could have.
They didn't build it up at all. They did not build it up. They built up his fucking death. Like, yeah, you're going to die because you're going to get your little fireworks at the end of the movie, as Sly said. But instead, it's like, oh, I'm supposed to buy this because there's 2 flashback sequences in this. And now I'm going to fucking...
There's
no,
2
I'm not
flashpoints.
I'm not going to feel bad for this. This is not a father-son relationship. Fuck you, movie.
Anyway, and then he freezes over in Quill's arms. And they give him this wonderful funeral where they put him in the colors of the whatever the fucks that he was never supposed to wear. Mm-hmm. And they cremate him into little stars. And then all his friends show up to give him fireworks.
And it turns into the arrow that he always used.
Yes,
did you notice that?
I did notice that. I was like, that was the part I was like,
Oh, he's an arrow now. He became what he loved.
I was like, is he magic? How could he decide this what he wanted to be?
I was just like, all right, fine. It's cute or whatever. That's fine. I gave that a pass. It's not a big deal.
Anyway, and then he got his fireworks at the end, and I went...
And then everyone suddenly cared about the character, even though there's no reason for it. What? That movie ends. That's the end of the fucking movie.
I cared about Yondu in the beginning, when he was sleeping with them hoes.
That reminded me of I was just thinking of Mass Effect Andromeda there and then. I'm like, this looks exactly like one of the planets in that game. Exactly where I'm at, actually.
What kind of planets are you going to where you're sleeping with hoes?
I'm not sleeping with them yet.
I think we need to discuss you playing this game.
But there are smugglers and all of that on this planet. It's like a planet of criminals, but they fight the Ket too. So you're kind of like, well, I'll work with them, but these are not good people.
I don't appreciate you going to hoe planets.
Now, we don't know that was a hoe planet. That could have just been a sector.
That was a hoe planet.
They were robots. It's fine.
The name of the planet...
They didn't feel anything.
The name of the planet was Hoe Planet.
It's the safest form of hose, right?
No hoes. Just no hoes.
Yeah, that's the end of the movie, essentially. It's the funeral, and that's it. We get 5 after credit sequences, most of which are jokes.
Credits.
And then the final one, which reveals Adam Warlock, which I thought was already revealed at the end of the first one. But I guess apparently that's another one of those moments like the Infinity Gauntlet in Thor, in which it's like, oh, Thor actually never went and grabbed it. How's he have it in this other movie? Whatever. In this one, it's like, wait, I saw the egg hatch. Like, if you see the egg in the first Guardians in Benicio del Toro's Collector, in the Collector's thing. And then during the end credit sequence with Howard the Duck, in the background, you see that the egg is hatched. And it's like, oh, Adam Warlock. But now they're like, no, this was actually the egg. And I guess that's one of those things where it's like, yeah, that was just an Easter egg, but this is really the real thing. And it's like, fuck, come on, man. Like, I thought, get it together at this point. But I don't know. It doesn't matter. People, it's fine. People don't know who Adam Warlock is anyway. They wouldn't have caught it. And it's only people like me who, it's like, fine, we're going to see him eventually, that are going to see him in this. And it makes sense. You know, the gold people, he's gold looking too in the comics. So, yeah, we're going to see Adam Warlock in the next one. And hopefully, at least to me, the story is better than Volume 2. The acting and the directing as the next portion of it.
The only one that I really liked was the big gray-red guy.
Drax? I thought he was overdone too. Like,
really?
he was the same fucking punchline.
I liked him and Mantis.
And he was, granted, he was the same punchline in the first one, but there were different jokes and different aspects to him not understanding what sarcasm was. Mm-hmm. In the second one, it's the same, like him pointing and laughing that loud goddamn laugh for 5 or 6 times, and it's like, let's do something. Come on, man. James Gunn, you know better. You've done better than this. Let's have something else.
But then he sits there and does things like, you're hideous, and then throws up in his mouth.
Like, yeah, there were some funny portions. Bautista was good. I don't think there was anyone that I was like, they didn't do a good job. Everyone did a fine job. Everyone did good. No problems with the acting and the directing. Most of it was a green screen set, and you can tell more than the first one, unfortunately. But I guess with a bigger budget, they just wanted to do more with the special effects, so they did more green screen shooting. And maybe that's just the way a lot of these comic book movies are being filmed now, because you saw in the Justice League set photos, they're in front of a giant green screen too. So I don't know. Maybe we'll get that with Justice League as well, but no major issues with the directing or the acting. In fact, it's on par with some of the better acting that you've gotten with the other Marvel movies, like Captain America: Winter Soldier or the very first Captain America movie. And speaking of the special effects, I think that was the biggest complaint, is that it's CGI heavy and it's big on the green screens, and you can tell that they are on a giant set with nothing around them, essentially. Right. And I think that's the poorest portion of
Alice in Wonderland all over again.
Yes, that's the perfect comparison to it. It is exactly more like the Disney's Alice in Wonderland Johnny Depp movie than it was a Guardians of the Galaxy movie. I think the first one felt smaller, more intimate. There were smaller sets. And this one, it's just everything was it was almost like a Thor movie as well, where it's just it's just this huge fucking, I don't know. It's not as well done as far as special effects. I know they have the bigger budget. They want to put that stuff in, but I think that's just a casualty of it being so big, and it is a comic book movie, that maybe they feel like they do have to make this into a grander spectacle for the audience. And maybe they did enjoy it, but on my end, I wasn't. I think if they should have done more of what they did in the first one.
I definitely agree. It all felt too big and too much, and it was difficult to, and granted there were a lot of problems with the story, but it was difficult to focus on the story when there was just so much going on around it, and so much that felt unreal. If you had taken me to a beautiful tropical place that didn't have these kooky bubbles and all this shit and CGI'd a castle in there, yeah, cool. That would have been much more impactful than, look at my giant CG face planet.
Not to beat up on the movie the whole time, I will say that I did enjoy the makeup effects and on the different aliens that we did see that were in front of us, and it wasn't just a CGI thing. All of the gold people looked fantastic. Yeah. The costuming was amazing on that. The special effects that they did have that were practical were on fucking point. There was nothing on there that was that could use a little. Everything was fucking awesome. Drax looked great. I kept looking at all the different tattoos or burn marks. That was seamless. It doesn't look like it's just pasted on. It's awesome. It's perfect. The paint job on everyone, especially again going back to the gold people, it's all perfectly even, and it looks awesome, and the camera holds on them for quite a bit, so you get to see all of the different details on them. It's incredible. I think the costuming is some of the best that you'll see this year, and some of the makeup effects as well should definitely be recognized. If anything, the most out of all the aspects of this movie is just it looked incredible. It was an awesome looking job. I don't know what the team was or what they put them on all the fucking movies, put them on the rest of the Marvel movies, because they are on par and on point with that. The overall opinion of the film, if you want to go ahead and give yours.
I'm going to give it 2 mixtapes.
2 mixtapes out of 5. Yeah. Any reasoning before I go into mine?
I think it just wasn't as well-rounded as it could have been. One of the things that bothered me a lot about it is when we have Yondu, and Yondu and Rocket are in the jail cell, and that one guy comes to save them, and then he comes and saves them from the planet too. If that guy wasn't there, how would they have figured it out?
True.
It bothers me because that character served no other purpose except to save them from things.
So the weaker writing.
Right. You didn't have a build up with him. He saves Yondu because they killed all my friends. That was his whole reasoning for setting him free, when he's the one who kind of started the whole mutiny anyway.
That was a perfect impression of that guy, by the way. That's exactly what we did not clip that from the movie, everyone. Brokettes. That was Kelli herself.
What you didn't know is I played him.
That's very true.
But that was his whole point. You had Baby Groot, and Baby Groot was, granted, Baby Groot was adorable, and there were cute moments with Baby Groot, but he was way too much in that. I don't know. He did way too much in that movie. They focused on him way too much.
I didn't have too much of an issue with Baby Groot. I mean, he's adorable. You got to sell those pops.
Well,
You got to sell the figurines.
I mean, I get that, and I get that that's what people wanted. But how many? He went back and got a fucking item from that room like 14 times, and I'm like, I get it. Baby Groot doesn't understand you.
So too many jokes. That's something my coworker said. He's like, every scene there was a joke. Like even the scenes that were supposed to be serious. He's like, okay, let's see it, and it's like a character pops up from the side, like, here it is. Here's the joke. Like that's what Richard said. Like he's like, there's way too many of them, and I didn't notice. Like he's mentioned this to me ahead of time, and I wasn't like it's overdone with the jokes, but it was like many of them didn't land. Like even in the audience, like I was like, no one's really laughing at these, and I'm already like the guy that doesn't laugh at too many of these, but I'm like I think I laughed twice, maybe two of the jokes. Mary Poppins, that's the one that everyone is tweeting about, and for a good reason. It's fucking
Poppins
funny.
Was funny.
I forgot the other time.
You laughed at one with Groot. That's all I remember.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was either, but
and and that's unfortunate. You laughed at it, and we can't even remember it because it wasn't like they only saved the best jokes for you know the movie. It was let's put a joke in every scene, and something will make somebody laugh, and we'll make this very lighthearted.
People like, right? They were like a funny light movie. Why can't it just be fun? Let's just make it really fun.
Yeah,
and
I get that, but
it should have been a warning to me when my coworkers who love the Marvel movies said it's a fun movie. It's a lot of fun.
You should have.
That's when I should have been like, oh no,
should have known right
no. And one of my coworkers, he's the biggest Marvel fan out of all of us, and ahead of time he told me, a lot of people are saying this about the story, and I'm like, okay, whoa, hold on here. Now you're already defending this thing, and I haven't even seen it. But maybe it's because he knows that I'm going to criticize all of these movies just the same. So yeah, the story I think was the biggest problem with the movie, followed by the overdone special effects. Makeup effects were great, but just it's for all the reasons above. You gave it 2 mixtapes. I give it 2.5. Not better than the first Guardians of the Galaxy. Not in my top 5 Marvel movies. Not in the 5 movies that I do enjoy. So it stays at 5. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to be seeing this again. I'll watch Guardians 3 because I like the first one. So maybe this was just a misstep. We'll see what happens in the third one. But, I mean, I wouldn't put this much higher than Ant-Man. I wouldn't put it much higher than the first or second Iron Man. It sucks, but it was a disappointment.
It had a lot of potential. It just felt like there was nobody really directing it and being like, okay, this is the character of development. They tried to develop Yondu a lot. They tried to develop Rocket through Yondu and vice versa, Yondu through Rocket. That really didn't hit.
The Gamora sisters as well.
Yeah, Gamora sisters that they still hated it. I didn't get that feeling of, okay, they finally found peace within themselves.
And all of that done at the same time in this one block of 40 minutes.
Right.
Like, everyone, here you go, audience. No, don't do that. Don't do that.
It was poorly written fan fiction.
It feels like maybe James Gunn was given too much creative freedom on this, and obviously, I don't know.
Or maybe he was asked
that's what it felt like.
Asked to do too much. I don't know. Maybe they're like, you need all these characters in here.
I doubt that, because as well as the first one did, they're probably like, dude, you're good. Just do that again for the second one, and he might have gone a little overboard. And all right, so 2 volume 2 discs, cassette tapes,
mixtapes,
2.5 mixtapes on my end. There you go. That's the review.
That's it.
I know a lot of people enjoyed it, and if you did, that's great. But if you're a longtime listener, you know how at least I look at some of these movies. So that's a review for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 and the podcast this week as well. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to tune in. If you're a new listener, you can subscribe by heading on over to TheReasonsImBroke.com. If you're listening to this on YouTube and you normally don't listen to podcasts, I know some of our listeners only listen on YouTube, and this is the only type of podcast they understand or that they subscribe to. Do know that we are available on iTunes if you have an iPhone as an audio format, so you can listen to us with your headphones without having the screen on. Also on Stitcher. Another great podcast app, and that's the one that I'm currently using, is Pocket Casts. If you're an Android user, Pocket Casts is excellent. There's a lot of really neat features on there, and a lot of the biggest shows are on there. Also, Podcast Addict, if you're on the iTunes side, if you want a better app than what iTunes has, definitely check out Podcast Addict. Both of them are paid apps, and we're not sponsored by them or anything, but I'm personally recommending these to you because I do listen to podcasts, and I use Pocket Casts on the Android side, and I hear good things about Podcast Addict on the iTunes side. So a lot of options out there. Whatever podcatcher you do use, chances are we are on there. So whatever your favorite one is, give it a shot. And if whatever you use already as it is, just keep doing what you're doing. Thank you so much for tuning in, wherever it may be. I'm Daniel.
And I'm Kelli.
We'll see you next week.